Welcome to part 2 of my Geopolitics with the Gods series. If you have not watched the introduction or part 1, then you should go do that. Part 1 is what the gods normally represent, and this video will cover what the gods represent politically. You will want to internalize and memorize everything that is in this video. I have this set up the same way that part 1 is set up, but I didn't add any pictures for this video. The gods that were mentioned in part 1 are the ones mentioned in this video. They are also in the same order. I will be making videos over the next couple of weeks for gods that are from different regions. This will include Hindu, Japanese, and Native American gods. If I can do the others, then I will. Part 1 and part 2 of this series are the easy parts. Part 3 is a lot more complicated. I will make part 3 when I get it figured out. This series is still a work in progress and probably will be for the rest of my life. But if it helps one person with making some money, then I will consider it to be a success. So first up, we have sovereignty, authority, and state legitimacy gods. Zeus represents leadership fractures, constitutional crisis, and legitimacy erosion at the top. Jupiter is similar to Zeus, but he's stronger on bureaucratic durability than charisma. Tyr tracks legal legitimacy and willingness to uphold rules, even at cost. Odin is active during intelligence failures, elite overreach, or long-term strategic decay. The Dagda tracks whether leadership still feeds the system or is becoming extractive. War, security, and coercive power gods. Ares represents civil unrest, riots, emotional mass violence. Athena represents military professionalism, doctrine coherence, and civil-military relations. Mars represents conscription stress, patriotic legitimacy, and war economy alignment. Thor represents border defense, infrastructure protection, and are the people safe. Perun represents sudden escalation risks and regime survival through force. Next up, we have law, justice, and institutional trust gods. Themis represents when courts lose moral authority, even if it's still legal. Tyche represents corruption perception and unequal enforcement. Forseti represents breakdown of dispute resolution mechanisms, and Nemesis represents warning signs for elite impunity and delayed backlash. Next up, we have economy, resources, and material stability gods. Demeter represents supply chain stress, food inflation, and rural unrest. Ceres represents public welfare, legitimacy, subsidies, and bread and circus risks. Plutus represents oligarchy formation and capital hoarding. Hades and Pluto represent resource exploitation, shadow economies, and debt traps. Freyr represents economic confidence, trade health, and investment sentiment. Next up, we have information, ideology, and narrative control gods. We have Hermes, who represents media velocity, misinformation spread, and diplomatic messaging. Apollo represents scientific authority, expert trust, and institutional foresight. Bragi represents national myth coherence and ideological drift. Loki represents psyops, internal sabotage, and elite trolling. Next up, we have social stability, mood, and collective emotion gods. We have Hera, who represents family policy stress, demographic legitimacy, and elite hypocrisy. Then we have Hestia, who represents home front morale and community breakdown. Then we have Erin, who represents post-conflict fragility and peace dividend sustainability. Hel represents long-term demographic collapse and institutional rot. Next up, we have fate, systemic risk, and irreversibility gods. The Norns represent long-term inevitabilities, which include aging, population, and debt math. Next up, we have the Morai and the Fates. When no policy choice avoids loss, it only reallocates it. Chronos represents delayed reform risk, which is we waited too long. Next up, we have collapse, transformation, and renewal gods. So we have the Ragnarok figures, who represent multiple indicators failing simultaneously. Dionysus is a populist fervor, ideological mania, and protest movements. So if you see protest movements, then Dionysus is behind it. Janus, we have elections, regime change, and constitutional rewrites. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic day or night.